I think there's something to be said about living in a small town as a indie filmmaker. It's this funny thing how when you live somewhere, you kind of underestimate what you have. And what I've always thought about Vancouver Island, especially Crofton, even just like my small town, I've lived here most of my life. And if I was in LA, which I have friends that live in LA, and it's a lot harder to get something done. It's harder to get locations. Sure, they have a lot of locations. Everybody knows that you can charge a whole bunch of money. It costs a lot of money just to make anything, even on a low budget. I bought a place in Crofton specifically for raising kids. I thought Crofton would be a perfect place to raise a family, and it's been nothing but awesome. And of course, I don't live in Crofton specifically just to make no-budget movies. I did it for my family, and I did it for a place to raise my kids, put them in school where I feel safe. And obviously, I don't want to overhype this place. There's obviously issues, and Crofton specifically is known as kind of a mill town. So with mill comes with the smell, which has always been a huge thing since I was a kid. People from outsiders always thought of Crofton as kind of like the smelly town, which, fair enough, whatever. You're never gonna change those people's minds. It was that kind of mentality that allowed me over 10 years ago to buy a place here way below what they're asking now. So I see it as an advantage. Yes, this is going to be a video about why I love living in a small town. Obviously, you end up in a small town mostly because of your parents or family, and that's no different from me. My mom and dad both spent a lot of time in Crofton growing up here. My grandparents both lived here. Funny enough, my wife's grandpa actually worked with my dad at this mill. I was just thinking about how many places we lived. My parents settled on renting, which made us kind of bounce around a lot, and then after they split up, we still sort of stayed in Crofton. So then we split the housing into two, and then we constantly were on the move. I joke that we've probably lived in about half the houses in Crofton at some point. It's probably not far off. Why do I say I like small towns? Well, you kind of have everything. As an indie filmmaker, you can kind of shoot anywhere. Like you need a lake scene. It's literally a 5-minute walk from the house. There's like a full lake, tranquil lake that not a lot of people go on. I just noticed this is the Ron Sonny Colson Field. Is actually named after. Sonny was a really well-known character, baseball aficionado, and he was my very first actual coach, legit coach for baseball. Good guy, kind of lived and breathed baseball. This is my old school. This is the old Crofton Elementary. You'd walk down these steps here. This is a wrecked basketball court here, because the school was right here. It started right here, this foot here. And then the rest was the school. But we used to play football here, hockey. But we got really into football once. And this would be like the full length. Pretty wild, actually. I'm gonna throw some footage in here of me walking through this in 2016. And you can see how much it's changed. Down here is kind of the playground area. I'm in the school here. Back at those walls there is where we used to play tennis ball, soccer with a tennis ball, hockey, all the stuff. Hard to believe this is November, basically middle of November. Some of the views here are actually super underrated. Brass Bell has been a Crofton staple for 100 years. I love Crofton. I love Vancouver Island. There's not really any place I'd rather be. Sure, when I was younger, maybe the dream of living in California, working in Hollywood did interest me. But as time went on, that just didn't become a goal of mine. That clearly just wasn't something that was in the cards. In this place here, this tree's overgrown. But this was actually, this is gonna sound bizarre. I just thought of this right now. This might be the title of the thumbnail actually. It's I kissed a girl for the very first time in there. Now, it didn't look like that at the time. It was a main house to a bunch of apartments there. It went really downhill in the last 15 years. It was an actual legit house. It did not look like this, but look at it now. I think it would be an incredible spot for a restaurant or something if somebody had any money. I think of Crofton as kind of my backlot. Kind of always thought that way. And I remember shooting when was this even built here? I think it was just built. We shot a goofy spoof kind of trailer. One of the first things we ever shot on High 8. I think I have the footage. I'm gonna show some of it if I can find it. Called Soul Paper. Man, it was amazing. It's fun, just doing stuff with your friends, getting together, making stuff. Spy Party time. If you're a no-budget filmmaker or wannabe filmmaker, use what you have. There's things in your town or city that you live in that other people do not have access to. It may not seem unique to you, but it can be incredibly unique. We'll end it like that. Thanks for watching. Up to you?
Yeah, for me.